You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
And just like that, we're back. So, we have been covering a lot of ground here, but Denise has a question for you as well.
Okay.
And this is actually something that I have an opinion on, and I can't wait to hear yours. She says, are Bigfoot and UFO related? She knows that they seem to be in the same locations, and she'd just like an opinion.
It is true. There is a lot of correlation between UFOs and Bigfoot when it comes to sightings. They often are seen in the same areas. And just to be honest, I've never seen a Bigfoot get out of a UFO or anything like that, and I'm not being facetious. Right, to date. But I have heard a lot of weird stuff on my audio recorders and then had Bigfoot yells. Now the audio recorders is just one element. You got your sight in your audio. I mean, your hearing in your sight. You only hear one thing in audio. I think that's one of the age-old questions. Is there a connection? Like there could be. Is there a connection between sightings of UFOs and Bigfoots? You got it. There's a ton of them. Is there a connection? I mean, I'll be honest. I don't really know. So that's my opinion. I don't know. I'm not afraid to say I don't know.
Well, you can't be, right? Because it is what it is.
Yeah.
There are no experts in this field.
Right.
I know a couple of people that I would consider pretty close. You would be one of them.
Right.
And
thank you.
Well, I mean, you do the work. You are on the ground out there all the time. So
right.
It's just one of those things that you're not sure what is happening. And
right.
It's just the best you can do, is the best you can do. You have the evidence that you've gathered. You have the information that you've gathered from records and everything else that you come across. When you talked about Cherokee, I had one side of my family that was already in Arkansas, and I had one side of my family that was on the Trail of Tears. And so my family is in both the Eastern and Western clan of the Cherokee Nation.
Right.
It's just a really interesting aspect when I've wandered through those mountains. I have a friend, Mary Joyce, who does the website Skyships Over Cashiers, which is Cashiers, North Carolina. There's a lot of ufology there. There's also a lot of cryptid activity. So it happens, right? I mean...
Oh, yeah. It really does, There's a private location that I'm working right now. It has a ton of not UFO, a ton of Bigfoot sightings. There's one particular guy that's seen the creature 3 or 4 times. He hasn't had no UFO experience, but right after he started seeing the creature, he started having some really bad paranormal activity at his mother's house that he was living in at the time. And it was so bad he actually sold the house, got out of it. This is the first documented case I've ever heard of a paranormal connection with Bigfoot.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was pretty. He told me it was pretty violent. It got to a point where things thrown across the room, not at him, but just the road. So I don't know if it was some type of poltergeist activity. Now, was it connected with the Bigfoot? I don't know, because there are some Native American graves on this property, and I was very pointed to ask him, did you do anything with these graves or anything, pick up any arrowheads or anything? And he told me, no, I didn't. He said, but right after I first saw this creature the first time is when a lot of it started, and I thought that was pretty odd. I never heard that before.
Well,
there was some, but maybe it woke his understanding once he saw the creature. Maybe it was in his life a long time, and opened a door, and one door led to another.
Well, a lot of times I think that's a strong possibility, because if you've been living in denial. I know people, I am people who have, had things happen your whole life, and you write it down to, well, that was weird, but that was just deja vu. That was weird, but, I'm sure I just misheard that. Or, I'm just being paranoid. So,
right.
It's just one of those things that I think it does open you. If you have one, I'm sorry, Bigfoot is paranormal. It is not normal. It's
course.
paranormal. And, ufology is paranormal. All cryptids are paranormal. So, it's just an interesting concept. If you view things that way, that makes them interconnected to a degree.
Yeah.
Or it certainly makes you capable. If you can experience one, why can't you experience something else?
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
We have a question that says they're primates, they have souls, right? Well, if you go by animals don't have souls, then that would be no. However, you
Right.
cannot tell me that my dogs do not. I just can't imagine, and I, for goodness sakes, don't want to go to a heaven that doesn't have them waiting on me there. So the ones that I've lost. So, so they said, Bigfoot could have ghosts too, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Interesting concept.
Anything, anything is possible because, I have a really hankering in my spirit this year to go camping for 2 days, and that's out in the National Forest. And don't take anything, no audio equipment, no video equipment, just do it. And deep down in my soul, I believe that when I do this, and if I do this, that I will see these creatures very up close and personal, more than I already have. It's a very weird thing to pop in my head, but I also pay attention to what pops in my head.
I do.
And so I told there's this old Bigfoot hunter that lives in Arkansas. He's 90 years old. He's did a lot of investigations in the Southeast, and he's been very kind to listen to me hours, ask questions. He told me, first off, before we start anything, if you ask me any questions, are you doing this for you? And I said, yeah, I'm doing it for me. He said, I know you have a YouTube channel, you do good work. He said, but are you doing it for you? And I am doing it for me. But all of a sudden, this thought is popping in my head, and it scares me to death because it says, if there's, what is the next level? I've proven to myself. I've proven to the world I could stop tomorrow, to shut everything down and still do it privately. But it's an odd question because I'm thinking, well, what happens then? And I deal with a lot of people that don't believe. I deal with people that do believe, and I believe that most people that don't believe, they're afraid to believe. But then again, I'm facing this inner thing that says, go out there with nothing and see what you see. It's almost like when they come closer, but I'm scared to death of that. I don't, it's
or
safe
will you
now
be more
that
vulnerable?
Yes, it's a very powerful thing, and I don't know, it's an unusual part. It's something that's really been resonating in my head here lately, because I've had several people in this private area too who said, you go out there without nothing, just sit in your truck, pull outside your truck, stand beside the road, and just see what happens. And I'll be like, well, what happens? You just kind of try it and see. Well, we've did it. And, them kind of people will blow your mind.
Yes.
You're like, well, what the holy hell's going to happen? Well, just do it and see, and
that's
very,
hard. That's very hard.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even imagine contemplating that.
Yeah. It's just like these people that love survival, and they like to play at survival. True survival in its purest form where the right step or the left step means death and the right step means life is true survival is not play. True survival is tough.
Yes.
Whatever decision you make depends on whether you live or die, but yes, I don't know. I feel blessed in what I do. Like I said, I've always had paranormal experiences, and with the Bigfoot stuff, I've seen some stuff in the Bigfoot stuff the last 2 months. I've seen 2 or 3 minute things that have happened that has blown me away. That I've even come to the point where I thought about shutting down everything and walking away because I have my proof, and I don't have to prove it to anybody. I don't need validation from nobody.
Because you're
seeing, and I don't.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I fight through it because I just feel like sometimes sometimes I need to publish things that say this is what it is. You know. So.
Well, my opinion on that, not that it matters, that and $4 will get you a coffee at Starbucks, right? But
yeah,
you're doing something that you're called to do. You've already said that you feel that that's why you're in the field. And if that's what you're called to do, then if you feel called to educate people about them or to make people aware of the possibilities or whatever, then you need to do that, because otherwise you're denying a calling. And I have found, and from personal experience, that you can't really run from that.
Oh no.
And because there are repercussions.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think the biggest thing with the Bigfoot community, I know this is the same thing with the paranormal community, is I try so hard on the Alabama Paranormal and Bigfoot Facebook group is for people to defend their views, but do it in a civil manner instead of calling names. Like the saying says, if you have to resort to calling names, you're slanderous, you've already lost your argument.
Right.
And that is the biggest thing in the Bigfoot community is the viciousness. I've stepped out on several well-known Bigfoot topics, and I've made a stand because I want my evidence to be held up in a court of law. I want a defense attorney to get up and say, you know what, I can't prove it's wrong. Something's definitely there.
Right.
But so many people are losers, and they say,
yes,
look, a can's crushed and a Bigfoot did it. Well, did you see it happen? No, but you don't need to attack me for my thing. No, just have the balls enough to defend your thing. If you can't defend it, it's just, I'm not trying to be mean. Yeah. That's right. But you got a deer carcass in your yard. Does that mean Bigfoot did it? No, it don't. You didn't, unless you saw it happening, you got it on video.
Right.
And people can say the same thing with me. It's not, but you know what? Whatever. I can tell you, I don't care if you believe it or not. It happened. I saw it, and I think that's the biggest thing with the Bigfoot community. There's just there's a lot of egos, and you call them on it or ask them just to back up your evidence, and people get offended. And I want people to pick it apart. If you can prove it and you can prove this happened, and I'm like, well, you're right. Then good for me, good for you, man. Congratulations.
Well,
I know I've got a lot of evidence. You can't,
Well, I wouldn't want to have to sift through every bit of your evidence and try to disprove it because, like I said, I know you. So I'm pretty confident I would have a hard time with that. But you know what? We are just about out of time. So
well, thank you for having me, and thank you for you ask good questions. I mean, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Thanks for being had. So
hey, I don't know. I'm very different. I guess that's a good thing. I don't know.
I think it's a good thing. I have never fit in any mold, and I used to be concerned about that, and now I'm just so thankful because it's a good way to live.
That's right. And thank you for having me. And if anybody's just like it's a good Alabama Paranormal Bigfoot on Facebook and the same thing on YouTube, we try to have I try to throw some doozies out there. And the craziest thing is when I throw a doozy, somebody's having experience with it, and I love that. I think that's amazing.
And I enjoy that. And I do want to let people know that this Sunday is the premiere of Fate Magazine Radio here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. And I am the new voice of Fate Magazine. So,
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited, and you're going to have to come on there with me. We will book that. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.